Are you just living day to day? I used to have this feeling all the time. I would wake up, go to school, come back, do homework, play video games, go to bed, and rinse and repeat. And it was just the same thing every day for years. And sometimes I would just look back and think, what did I even do in the past few months? I couldn't even put a finger to what exactly I had accomplished except for piles of homework or levels on a video game. And if those two things were just my goals and I was happy with that, then that would actually be fine. But the thing is, I had other goals in mind. I wanted to learn other skills. I wanted to learn guitar, video editing. I wanted to become more consistent at the gym. But even though I had all these goals, as soon as the grind started, whether that be school or work, those goals that I had gradually just faded away. And I just defaulted to my regular routine of going to school, doing homework, playing video games, sleeping. That was it. And so, sure, if my goals was just getting high grades, cool, that may be okay. But as I said, I had other things that I wanted to achieve that would actually bring me more fulfillment than just high grades. But I never got time to do them because I was just constantly trapped in this cycle of school, video games, homework, and sleep. And it wasn't until a few years later, and in fact it's only this year, that I've been much more deliberate on how I actually prioritize my time so I can get those important things done and make sure that I'm not falling to the trap of this cycle, whether that's school, whether that's a full-time work for yourself. And what basically changed, and this is the point of me sharing this entire story, is that I just became super clear with my priorities. And not only that, I had constant feedback points throughout my entire week to make sure I was on track. So what does this realistically look like? Because I want to give you practical step-by-step actions. So what I do every week is I have a weekly reflection, and there's a few questions I ask myself. First is, did I do the 80-20? The 80-20 obviously is just, there's certain tasks that give you 80% of the outcomes, and they tend to be the high yield tasks that you want to focus on. So I ask myself, did I focus on the 80-20 this week? And for next week, what are the 80-20 tasks that I should be doing? So for example, if right now I'm trying to learn more about YouTube strategy. So an 80-20 task is literally refining my understanding of YouTube. Perhaps that's going through a course, or perhaps that's going through my notes and refining a set of frameworks. So that would be an 80-20 task that I need to focus on. And once I identify one of those 80-20 tasks, I need to book them into my calendar. So I literally have blocks in my calendar that are specifically designed for the 80-20 tasks. Now, I'll call this power hour. It might be kind of cringe, but basically it's the first thing I do in the morning. So as I reflect on this at the end of the week, so let's just do this live. It's the end of the week, I'm recording this on a Saturday. I'm thinking, okay, what's the 80-20 I can do? Cool, go through more YouTube courses. So what I'll do next is I'll look at next week's calendar, my calendar, and I go, Monday, cool, 7 to 8 a.m., I'm gonna do YouTube courses. Tuesday, 7 to 8 a.m., I'm gonna do YouTube notes, refine my YouTube notes, and so on and so on. So that's exactly what I would do. I would identify the 80-20 and schedule it straight into my calendar. So that's the first question I ask. And the second question I ask is, am I still winning the championship? And this is what I mean. Sometimes we can do a bunch of tasks, but they may not actually lead us to our outcome. For example, I can just, study, do homework all day, but if my goal is not to get good grades, then those tasks aren't actually leading me to my goals. And I know that sounds like a dumb example, but sometimes it gets a bit complicated. For example, sometimes we may just do things for the sake of being productive. And I know for me, this is always the case. For example, I sometimes just watch productivity podcasts online because I think I'm being productive by watching these podcasts. But if I ask myself, okay, does watching this podcast actually lead to me achieving my dream goal, which is becoming better at YouTube? Probably not as much as I think. Maybe there's some indirect benefit, but again, I'm not looking for some indirect benefit. I'm looking for the task that has the most benefit. So ask yourself, are you still winning the championship? Are you still doing things that are actually leading you to achieve your goal? Because I know it sounds sort of weird, but sometimes your brain makes you do things that seem productive but have nothing to do with what your goal actually is. And sometimes you just cope and think that, okay, cool, I'm watching a podcast, educational podcast, that's leading to my goal. When in reality, it's just another way of like procrastinating. So those are the two most important questions I ask myself. What is the 80-20? And schedule that in. And also, am I still winning the championship? So with that in mind, that is the weekly reflection activity that just allows me to stop living life day by day and actually allows me to consciously realize and consciously put my time where it matters. So I'm not just living life like day after day. I'm living life in a way where I'm very conscious of what I'm doing each day. And as a result, I'm very conscious of where that's going to lead me a year or 2 years down the line. And obviously, like the goal is for that to lead to somewhere that I want to be, rather than somewhere that I don't want to be, which would be the case if I just live day by day. So ask yourself those two questions and stop living day by day.